What's going on, people? LP2000 right back at you with another video. Yes, welcome back to Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews on behalf of Summit Kaiju, and I'm your host, obviously, Leslie P. Chambers. And today we're taking a look at another stellar X Plus figure release of the year 2018. And today we're taking a look at the X Plus 30cm Yuji Sakai Modeling Collection of Godzilla 1954 Ric Exclusive figure from the original film. Yes, the awesome, powerful film that saw it all in the Godzilla franchise, Gojira 1954, or Godzilla King of the Monsters. And as you can see, I have the beautiful figure here, as well as the box here. And you know, we do things around here. Let's get into the box before we get into the figure. And once again, I'm loving this box. Not gonna trash it. You know me, I love the 30cm artwork boxes, at least the artwork on the boxes, I should say. But I like the Sakai's a little bit more. They take it, a step further with their artwork, kind of like the figures, because the Sakai figures, even though they're a little bit more expensive than your regular 30cm figures from X Plus, they go the extra mile with the detail on their sculpts, which you'll see in a few seconds. But they do the same thing with the box as far as the artwork. So I'm really loving this box. With Godzilla, the typical Sakai artwork. But like I said, it's even more extravagant. It's even more dynamic with its presentation. Just to make it a separate line, because this is a separate line. So I'm happy that not only do they apply that to the figures, but they apply that to the box as well. So yeah, I'm loving this box, I'm loving it. So that's it with the box. So you know what, I'll just leave it here because it's a nice showcase, presentation piece or whatever. Oh yeah, so let's talk about stats for this figure. Yes, this is the Yuji Sakai 30cm Godzilla 1954 Ric Exclusive. Boy, that's a mouthful. Yeah, it's a mouthful. It was dropped earlier this year in February. Once again, another stellar release of 2018. Once again, I've said this in the past couple of videos that 2018, in my opinion, is probably, if not the best, one of the best years as far as releases that X Plus has done. They have provided us with a lot of great stuff this year, and they're not done yet. At the time of recording, they're not done yet. So with this release, this really is a standout piece of the year 2018. So at the end of the year, when everybody starts making their list of their favorite, acquisitions throughout the year, I would not be surprised if we see this guy on a lot of people's list, because this really is a nice piece. But to be honest with you, I originally didn't pre-order it because at the time, that same month of February, the 25cm Death Ghidorah was coming out, and I knew that I was going to be getting a Death Ghidorah, and I didn't want to be hit with a whole bunch of payment invoices, because February, you're just coming off the holidays, and it's Valentine's Day that month. There's a lot of stuff going on. So I knew I really couldn't financially get both, and out of the two, I wanted the Death Ghidorah more so than the Sakai 54. Because I had the gigantic, I had the regular 30cm 54, and I had the train biter. So I was thinking, I can do without, another 54. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like the 54. I don't necessarily love it. I recognize the importance of the design, how it's the granddaddy of them all, and without that design, we wouldn't have the other Godzilla incarnations that will follow. So I recognize the historical context and importance of the 54. But as far as me personally, like I said, I don't necessarily love the design. I like it and I appreciate it for what it is. But I was fine with the 54s I had in my collection, which is one of the reasons why I didn't pre-order the Sakai. So let me give a huge shout out to Eric Arrington. What's up, man? I hope you're watching. Through him, I got this Sakai 54. He actually ordered two by accident. He was like, "Look, I don't need another one. So if you want one, we can do some business together." I was like, you know what? I'll take you up on that offer, and that's how I come to have this figure. And I'm glad I got it. Once again, this is probably going to be the last 54 I ever do get in my collection. At the time of recording, There's going to be a new 1954 Godzilla coming, and it's coming from the 25cm line from Max Plus, and it's going to have a mini Serizawa diver holding the oxygen destroyer little piece with it, and that's the main reason why I didn't pre-order that one, because I'm fine with this one. I'm so fine with this figure of the 54, especially with it being a Sakai. It was taken from a Yuji Sakai kit, obviously, and even though it's billed as 30 centimeters, of course we know about this when it comes to the Sakai line. They are billed as 30 centimeters, but they really fall in under the 28, 29 centimeter scale, you know, because it's taken from a 30 centimeter resin kit. And when you translate, obviously, resin into vinyl, there's going to be some shrinkage, and it's going to be, you know, the figure's going to be smaller in terms of scale once the vinyl, you know, conversion process is completed, you know, which is fine. And actually, you know what? He's a good size. You know, he's not too big, he's not too small, he's just right, especially if you're tight on space and stuff like that. He really is a nice piece, especially if you're a 54 fan and if you're not feeling the gigantic being so big or the stylized train biter or whatever. This really is a nice piece for you. And honestly, when it comes to the gigantic, yes, I got to talk about that for a few seconds, because the gigantic 54, once again, is a great piece, and in my opinion, I think that figure, as far as the gigantic line is the one that gets overlooked, really, and rightfully so, to a certain extent, because that figure is billed as a Yuji Sakai figure, right? But the paint job on it is bland and dry at best. It's a great figure, but it doesn't look like a Sakai piece. Now this looks like a Sakai piece, you know? And for what they were charging with the gigantic and the bland paint job, it was kind of a misfire. Even though I do, like I said, feel that 54, when it comes to the gigantic, it's the one that gets overlooked and doesn't get talked about as much as it should. It really is a great piece, but I think its only drawback is the fact that it doesn't look like a true Sakai piece, even though it's billed as a Sakai. Excuse me. But they got it right with this. They got it right with this 30 centimeter 54 of the Sakai. You know, it looks really, 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 really good. And that's how I got my hands on it. Once again, huge shout out to Eric Arrington. Thank you so much. You know, like I said, at first I wasn't going to get it. I was content with the 54s I had in my collection. But now that I have this figure, I'm really glad I have it in my possession. So that's, you know, that's pretty much it with the backstory with me and this figure. It really is an awesome piece. And once again, it's a standout piece of the year 2018. It really is. Oh, one more stat about this figure. This is actually, I want to say, yes, it's the 5th edition in the Yuji Sakai line. Not counting the gigantic 54 and the gigantic 2000, because those pieces were Sakai pieces also. I'm talking about strictly the 30 centimeter line, right? This is the 5th. The first was the 89. The second was the 91, the Hokkaido version. The third one was GMK. And no, this is the 6th. Yeah, this is the 6th. Yeah, the first one was 89. The second one was 91, the Hokkaido version. Third one was GMK. Fourth one was the 92. The fifth one was the other 91, the Shinjuku one, and this is the 6th. So yes, I stand corrected. I'm sorry. This is the 6th edition to the Yuji Sakai 30 centimeter line. And it's actually the first Showa, the first and only Showa design from the Yuji Sakai 30 centimeter line. And hopefully we'll get other Showa Sakai pieces in the future, as well as a certain Heisei one and a certain Millennium one, but we'll talk about that later on. But this is a great piece, it really is. Normally, like I said, I have the camera all up in the figure's face and, you know, whatever, but I don't want to have the shaking cam thing going on today, so I'll just talk about it and provide inserts. Once again, like I said, this was originally a Sakai kit, and the way they translated it or converted from the resin kit into this vinyl presentation is amazing. And actually, it does come across as a resin piece, you know, only when you inspect it up close and personal, you know, do you know that it's a vinyl piece, you know, but it has more of a darker skin texture, color scheme on his body, you know, a darker skin texture, which I really do enjoy. Even though it's based off the figure from the black and white film, you know, like other 54 pieces, gigantic, the 30 centimeter, first 54, as well as the stylized train biter, they all have more of a monochrome paint somewhat of a light grayish color, you know. But this one has more of a darker black on its body, which I really do enjoy. I actually prefer that in a way. But other than that, the tree bark light skin, the dark color on his skin is amazing. The dorsal plates, they got the dorsal plates right. You know, as a matter of fact, almost every one of the 54 pieces, with the exception of the stylized train biter, they have done a great job with the 54's dorsal plates. You know, it's prehistoric looking, it's jagged, you know, it wouldn't be, it's not the more rounded dorsal plates that we will see in later Showa Godzilla designs. So I really like how they got this right with the dorsal plates. Once again, this is a Ric Exclusive figure. It comes with the battery pack that has Godzilla 1954, Yuji Sakai Modeling Collection, 30cm, blah, 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 blah. And the light up feature is actually pretty good. And the dorsal plates light up white. And this is a light up which I thoroughly don't mind for it to light up white. Now, other Sakai pieces or other X Plus Godzilla figures that light up white, I'm not really a fan of, like the Sakai 91, the Sakai 92, I believe. You know, it just wasn't accurate, you know, for me. I prefer those to be, you know, those dorsal plates to shine blue, because that's how they were in the film. They shine more so blue. It had a little white tint in there, but it wasn't an overabundance of white, you know. But with this, they got it right, you know, because when Godzilla's dorsal plates did light up in the 54 film, since it was black and white, his dorsal plates lit up more of a bright white. But they got it right here with the dorsal plates as far as the Ric Exclusive feature for this figure, you know. So, and once again, you know, to install the battery pack, he has like a little tab on the back of his left foot here. Just pull the tab off, insert the battery pack cord, and boom, that's it. And I like how they have done that, where they conceal the battery pack port, you know. Even though when you look at Godzilla, at least when you, I would think, when you position this Godzilla on your shelf, you're not positioning him from the back where you can't really notice it. You really position him from the front where you look at him from the front. But I like how X Plus went an extra mile and provided like a tab to cover the porthole to make it more a precise presentation. You know, I really do like that. But once again, this is a great piece. Great size, sculpt is awesome, you know. The face, oh my God, the face just screams 54. It just screams a 1954 Godzilla. He just has that beady eye look that the only way you can really appreciate this figure, if you look at him, like if you have him like on a high platform, like this shelf right here, right? If you have him up high and he's looking down on you like this, you know, which is scary, because if you recall the 54 film, most of it when we see Godzilla, you know, is from the people that's running away from him's perspective. They're looking up at him, and he's looking right back at them with those eyes being all beady and just, I don't know, it's just unnerving. You know, it's kind of a jarring, you know, kind of a sinister look. And they got it right with this figure right here. They got it right. So, not much more to say about this figure other than the fact that it really speaks for itself with the detail and the fact that it's a great Sakai piece. You know, and it made me change my mind about wanting to add another 54 to my collection. And once again, this was the main reason why I didn't pre-order the upcoming 25 centimeter 54, which at the time of recording, it is September 27, 2018. Supposedly it's due to drop within like between maybe tomorrow and sometime next week. But with all due respect to those who are getting it, you know, it looks like a great piece, it really does. But to me, I think this is the best piece as far as the 54. And that's one thing I want to go into right now. Now, as far as 54 pieces, notwithstanding the 25 centimeter that's coming out, like I just said, they also have a Death for Real 54 train biter, which looks like a great piece, you know. But the one I have in my possession, obviously, is the Sakai, the train biter, the original 30 centimeter, and the gigantic. And they're all great pieces. But in my opinion, if you're a 54 fan and you just come into the hobby and you want a great 54 piece from X Plus, you got to go with this one. You got to go with the Sakai. You know, at the time of recording, maybe he's online a little bit. You know, but like I said, he dropped in February, so with it being what, 7 months later, if he is out there, he's going to be scarce for one, and number two, he's going to be probably horrendously overpriced. Hopefully, X Plus can strike a deal with Diamond, and Diamond can bring this thing back to back to the U.S. for a more affordable price. I mean, they have done that with other Sakai pieces, like the Sakai 91, the first one, the Sakai GMK, the Sakai 92, you know, so maybe they can strike a deal with X Plus again and bring forth the 54. And if they do, if you can't find one for a good price now on eBay or wherever, get this guy. Really do get this guy. This really is a nice piece. And once again, when it comes to the 54 pieces from X Plus, in my opinion, I think this is the best one. This is absolutely the best one. You know, once again, I just wish that the Gigantic 54 had the same type of detail. And honestly, if the 54 Gigantic did have the same detail as this one, I probably wouldn't have gotten this one. But that's the reason for me getting this one in the first place. The detail. The detail on the Sakai 54 is second to none, and I highly recommend you get it, whether it's now and hopefully and pray that X Plus strike a deal with Diamond for the, you know, for them to bring it back to the United States for a cheaper price. You know, maybe that can happen. But until then, if you can find one for a good price, whether it's a Ric Exclusive or the standard, please get your hand on this figure. You will not be disappointed. Now, let's go with at least one size comparison, and let's see how this guy compares with the other Sakai 30cm pieces of Godzilla I have in my collection. And let's look at that right now. Okay, folks, I'm back, and this is the first and only size comparison. And alongside the Sakai 54 Godzilla, I have the other Sakai 30cm Godzilla figures in my collection. Going from left to right, we have the 91, the Sakai 91, the Hokkaido version, the Sakai 92, the Sakai GMK, of course, the Man in the Hour, the Sakai 54, and of course, the one on the end, the Sakai 91, the other Sakai 91, the Shinjuku Landing Edition. And I just want y'all to see how they look together. And he looks really, really well. The 54 I'm talking about in comparison to the other Sakai Godzilla incarnations here. Now, conspicuous by his absence is, of course, the 89. Once again, I don't really care too much for that figure. Now, I had it at one time. I did. But I since sold it to a great friend of mine, brother from another mother, Godzilla. I hope you're watching. But for some reason, that figure doesn't do much for me, you know. The main thing that's a drawback for me as far as the 89 is the teeth. I don't really like how the teeth are sculpted. And in my opinion, I think the original 30cm 89 Godzilla from X Plus is the more superior one. So I had no issues really letting that go. And plus, it went to a great home, so it was a win-win for me. But yeah, they look great together. Yeah. Woo! This makes me even anxious for number 7. Yes, number 7, the Sakai 30cm Shin Godzilla is on his way. He should be dropping it any day now at the time of this recording. So it's going to be interesting to see how that guy will fare with the rest of these. So yeah, I just wanted to show you how these Sakai pieces look. And speaking of Sakai, there are a couple that I do want to see from X Plus come in the near future. Now this year, the only one that's been released obviously has been the Sakai 54, because I think a lot of focus has been on the favorite sculptors line. X Plus has been putting a lot of attention and focus on that line. You know, at the time it's recording, they're going to have at least at the end of the year, by the end of the year, they're going to have at least 5 separate releases from that line alone. So they have not focused that much on the Sakai line, with the exception of the Sakai 54, like I mentioned. But what I want to see in the future, 2 in particular, of course, from the Millennium series, they got to do a 2002. I'm sorry, they have got to do that figure. That figure is beautiful. The kit is beautiful. They have got to make that happen. They have to, you know. I'm so looking forward to see if they can and will do that. I think they will. I think at some point they will give us the 2002 Sakai Godzilla. And once that happens, man, it's gonna make a lot of folks happy, because I know a lot of folks are just clamoring for that figure, and I am included. And from the Heisei period, yes, we gotta go back to the Heisei, even though the Sakai 30cm line is heavily represented from the Heisei period. But I want them to go back to the Heisei with the 84. Recently, Yuji Sakai did a magnificent sculpt and a kit of the 30cm 1984 Godzilla, and he looks beautiful. And so I want that to be represented in the Sakai 30cm X Plus line. So those are my predictions of what I want to see, and up until then, these look great together. Like I said, the Sakai Shin should be coming at any day now, and I'm looking forward to see how he fares along with the rest of these. But as you can see, they look great together. Alright, so let's wrap this review up with my thoughts of Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Alright, let's go. Okay, folks, I'm back, and let's talk about Godzilla King of the Monsters in conjunction with the Sakai 1954 X Plus Godzilla figure I have here. And once again, I love Godzilla King of the Monsters, and I make no bones about the fact that, in my opinion, I find this film superior to the original Japanese release of Gojira, 1954. I think it's a very powerful film. It really is. Even though the Japanese version, I will admit, has more of a powerful message in it about Godzilla being a metaphor of the atomic bomb and how the misuse of atomic weapons could negatively affect the environment and how that could come back to haunt us or bite us in the butt in the long run. It's more heavily conveyed in the Japanese version. It's kind of downplayed in the American version, but still, I still find the 1956 Godzilla King of the Monsters film superior to the original. I know a lot of Godzilla purists out there look upon that as blasphemy. I know a lot of Godzilla purists don't really feel the same way, but in my opinion, I find this film superior. Now, when it comes to these Godzilla films, if you've been watching these films as long as I have, and let's just say I've been watching them for a long time, ever since my early childhood, and pretty much the way I feel about them then is the same way I feel about them now. I mean, there are certain films that I have like changed, where I've grown to love them more as time goes on, as I get older as a Godzilla kaiju fan and enthusiast. Some opinions change, but more or less they pretty much have stayed the same. If anything, I've grown fonder of certain films, like I said. But with Godzilla King of the Monsters, I feel the same way now as I did back then. Because I saw the film in the midst of me watching a whole bunch of Godzilla films as my early introduction into the character. Like Godzilla vs. Megalon, my first film. Then I watched King Kong vs. Godzilla. Then I watched Monster Zero, Sea Monster, Son of Godzilla, Mothra vs. Godzilla, Godzilla 1985, where Godzilla went through a lot of different character arcs, where he was a villain, straight up villain, a father figure, superhero, whatever, a serious metaphor like like in the original. So I saw Godzilla go through a lot of different character arcs, but when I finally got a chance to saw Godzilla King of the Monsters, that was the film that really opened my eyes and said, you know what, this really is a serious character. And it made me want to go back and learn more about the history of the character, and how I always say to all the Godzilla fans out there, at least the new ones that's coming into the hobby every single day, no matter how you get into it, if you get into it with like Godzilla vs. Megalon like I did, or if you go into it with Godzilla 1985, or Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, GMK, Final Wars, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 1993, Godzilla vs. Gigan, King Kong vs. Godzilla, no matter how you come into the hobby or when you come into the hobby, if you don't start off with the original film, you owe it to yourself to go back and watch the original film, whether it's the Japanese version and or the American version. And just realize that Godzilla was not always this happy-go-lucky character that we know and love today. He originated from a real-life tragedy, which could still affect some people to this day. But when it comes to these films, there are certain things that come to mind when I think of a certain title, Like with Godzilla vs. Biollante, the first thing that comes to my mind is, of course, Mika Sagusa, or Megumi Adaka, the great woman that played Mika Sagusa in that film, as well as the rest of the Heisei series films. When I think of Monster Zero, I think of Nick Adams, great actor, flying saucers, aliens, all that good stuff. And when I think of Godzilla King of the Monsters, honestly, the first thing that comes to my mind is Raymond Burr. And I think that he doesn't get as much credit as he deserves for making Godzilla King of the Monsters a great film. Because, as we all know, Raymond Burr was the star of Godzilla King of the Monsters when they Americanized Gojira for the American audiences, and they put Raymond Burr in there, as the only American in the film in a way, so we can see the movie from his eyes. You know what I mean? And you know what? For the longest time, I did not know that he was not a part of the original Japanese film. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even aware of the original Japanese film until I became an adult, many years later, after the fact. So for the longest time, I actually thought that Raymond Burr was there in Japan filming the movie as it was going along. that's how clever and well produced they produce his segments. Because if you watch his segments in Godzilla King of the Monsters, whenever he's interacting with somebody from the Japanese cast, they're usually shooting that Japanese person from the back, so you don't really see Raymond Burr interacting with the Japanese, cast character, face to face. They were able to use a little bit of trickery to make you believe that he was there the whole time. And I think it also works the fact that it was black and white, so they were able to hide him, being there, whatever. Now, had it been in color, it probably been more of a hassle to try to disguise it all to make it blend together seamlessly, But I think it works. I think it worked for what they did with Raymond Burr. Now he does return in 30 years later in the sequel / reboot Godzilla 1985, but in that film, even though I do enjoy 1985 even more so than 1984, but he doesn't do much of anything of substance in 1985. Now he does provide, the military people with information about Godzilla, how dangerous he is, what he's capable of, but he's witnessing everything from afar, Even though I do admit his speech at the end of 1985 is the main reason you should really watch 1985, because I love that film really for that speech alone and for Raymond Burr's involvement, But in 1956 in King of the Monsters, he's given more to do. His role is kind of more pivotal in 1956. He's there for a lot of the iconic moments of the film. He's there when the mysterious boat sinkings around Japan start happening. He's there when Godzilla attacks Odo Island for the first time. He's there the very next day or 2 days later when Godzilla fully reveals himself to the world. He's there in the meetings with the government after Godzilla's revealed, trying to figure out what they should do with him, He's there when Godzilla attacks Tokyo twice, He's even there at the second attack watching Godzilla destroy the whole city while he's reporting it to his newspaper. He's there witnessing the whole tragedy of Godzilla destroying buildings, killing people, setting the whole Tokyo on fire. He's also there at the end when Godzilla dies. So he's given a lot more to do in King of the Monsters, and I think he does a really, really great job. So when I think of Godzilla King of the Monsters, I immediately think of him. It didn't help the fact at the time when I was watching King of the Monsters, they were showing Perry Mason reruns around the same time. So I was like, oh wow, Perry Mason is in Japan, watching Godzilla destroy the city. It wasn't until later on until I put two and two together and realized, it was the same guy playing this, different roles, So it took me a while to really figure that out, But I think Raymond Burr deserves a lot of credit for taking his role seriously, because he didn't phone in his performance. He could have done what Russ Tamblyn did in Water Gargantuous, not treat it seriously, not, have a somber tone, whatever, with his role, which was the overall tone of the film, a somber, gloomy, just impending doom type of tone. And I appreciate Raymond Burr for doing that. I really do. I really do appreciate him taking his role seriously, taking the character of Godzilla seriously, even in 1985, because originally in 1985, when they, decided to bring Godzilla back to the United States after the release of Godzilla 1984, they originally wanted to make Godzilla 1985 a spoof. They wanted to make it a comedy. But Raymond Burr was like, look, you're not going to do that. You're going to treat this as a serious subject matter, or at least treat Godzilla as a serious character. If you're not going to do it, I will not be a part of that. And you know what? I can respect him for doing that. For going to bat for Godzilla, for going to bat for the character. Because honestly, if they would have done that, if they would have made 1985 a spoof, a comedy, with Godzilla already having a reputation of being a goofy superhero in America anyway, and the whole reason of the conception of 1984 is for 1985, they wanted to wipe people's minds away from that goofy superhero Godzilla and bring Godzilla back to being more of a dangerous, threatening, fearsome monster. And had they went about doing that, making it a spoof, who knows if we would have got a Heisei series after that, because it's kind of hard to put more believability into Godzilla if he's seen more as a goofy type of character. But Raymond Burr was like, no, we're not doing that. I'm not going to be a part of it if you do it. And the rest is history. So once again, I think Raymond Burr deserves a lot of credit. He has much to do with the success of Godzilla King of the Monsters, of that being such a powerful film. Once again, I hold this film superior to the original because even though the radiation and atomic metaphor of Godzilla is downplayed in the original, excuse me, it's downplayed in the US version, that was done by design, because honestly, a lot of those messages, those deep, powerful messages, would have went a lot over a lot of people's heads. They would not, they would have not been able to understand, obviously, because America didn't have 2 nuclear bombs dropped on them. So that message would have been like lost, you know. But I'm glad that they downplayed it. But I'm glad that they walked that line of 1956 of making Godzilla King of Monsters more of a powerful film, but yet not like the other sci-fi films of the period, you know, of monsters on the loose like Them, The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, you know, whatever. So I'm glad that with Raymond Burr's involvement and with them taking the subject matter just a little bit seriously, but not too much where it gets lost on the American audience, they made Godzilla King of the Monsters a great, powerful film, and I highly recommend you go out and watch that version as well as the original Japanese version. You know what I mean? So that pretty much concludes my review of the X Plus 30 centimeter Sakai Godzilla 1954 Ric Exclusive figure from obviously the original film, the great powerful film that started it all, Gojira 1954 or Godzilla King of the Monsters 1956. If you have any questions, holler me down in the comment section or hit me up on Facebook via Leslie P. Chambers. We'll definitely go from there. Yes, I'm finally getting a chance to do this, guy. Once again, this is a great piece. Another standout piece of the year of 2018. Once again, I was originally not going to get it, but thanks to a brother from another mother, Eric Arrington, I was able to get my hands on this guy, and I really do appreciate him for allowing me to do business with him so I can get it. And I'm really more appreciative for actually having this guy in my collection. You know, once again, this is probably going to be the last 54 piece I do collect in my, in my collection. Because I find the superior, I find the gigantic, the train body as well as the original 30 centimeter good enough for me. So I more likely will not get the new 25 centimeter 54 that's dropping because I'm so fine with this one. So if you're able to find this guy for a good price, you know, right now, or maybe hopeful Diamond will reissue this guy in the future, please do not hesitate to get your hands on this figure. You would not be disappointed. Because once again, I believe, even though if you don't like the figure, even though if you don't like the movie, even though if you don't like the design of the original Godzilla, I feel like every Godzilla fan, every Godzilla enthusiast, every Godzilla collector should have a representation of the 1954 Godzilla in their collection. Because obviously without this guy, we wouldn't have everything when it comes to the Toho universe. King Ghidorah, Mothra, Rodan, Hedra, Gigan, Mechagodzilla, Biollante, Mega Ghidorah, Space Godzilla, Destroyer. Every monster that we know, as well as like the Ultraman series, everything that we know for as tokusatsu starts with this guy right here. And like I said, I think a representative of the 54 should be in everybody's collection as an homage to where everything started from. And if you're gonna go for one, go for this one. You will not be disappointed. All right. Once again, lots of stuff is coming on this channel. I got the Ric Exclusive set of Space Godzilla and Little Godzilla. That's coming real soon. Gamma 1995. RMC is coming real soon. The Sakai Shin should be shipping from Japan in a few days. I should be getting that real soon. So lots of stuff is coming on the channel. Also, my birthday is coming up. My birthday is coming up not this coming Saturday, but the following Saturday. So I may have a live stream event going on that day to celebrate my birthday. So, but lots of stuff is coming on the channel. Please stay tuned. You will not be disappointed. And in the meantime, get this figure. Get the Sakai 54, whether it's the standard or Ric Exclusive. You can't go wrong with that. You will not be disappointed with it. All right? So I thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see y'all again on this figure and move review. All right? Y'all take it easy.